We now return to Secrets of Oil on Modern Marvels. When it comes to big, there isn't much that's larger than the Crawler Transporter, the vehicle that moves the space shuttle from point A to point B. So it's hard to imagine that this 6 million pound behemoth has much in common with an ordinary watch. Despite their size difference, beneath their exteriors, both mechanisms have lots of moving parts. And whether they weigh a few tons or a few microns, moving parts almost always need oil-based lubricants.
A lubricant is designed to really do two different things. One is to prevent wear, and the other is whenever you have moving parts, there's heat generated. So it really lubricates by taking the heat away that's formed and also to keep the surfaces from rubbing together.
Lubricants are made from base oils fractioned from the heavier elements off the distillation tower. They're considered among the most valuable fractions, even as they represent less than 8% of a barrel's output. That's because they do so many things, from helping to move the shuttle to steering a missile, to ensuring the chain on the chainsaw saws. Manufacturer Lubricating Specialties receives base oils from refineries all over the country and blends them into more than 1,000 different lubes every month.
Well, of course, we make motor oils. That's probably our #1 product that we make. We do specialty things with fire-resistant hydraulic fluids, which are very important in foundries, so if you get a leak, it doesn't catch fire. We also manufacture Navy oils that are used in the hydraulics on ships to move the rudders, missile batteries, or guns. And also the catapult oil to launch the airplanes.
Any lubricant's job is to form a thin film between two moving parts. It must be thick enough to withstand the friction generated as the parts work, yet not so thick as to inhibit or degrade the part's performance. Viscosity is the term used to describe that thickness, and it's determined by the blend of base oils from the refinery with additional chemical additives.
This is what we call the blending area, or fondly known as the snake pit. This is where we take and blend all the raw materials. Some are easy, 1 or 2 ingredients. Some are complicated and have up to 20 ingredients. Some are liquid, some are solids. So this is where you make your money or you lose your money. Because if it goes wrong here, it's expensive.
One of those additives is itself made from oil, and it puts the W, or winter, into 5W30. It's called the Viscosity Index Improver and comes in 50-pound blocks. But check this out. It's not a solid at all.
It's something that's cold flowed. So as we sit here, we open the side here. If we came back tomorrow morning, it would all be on the ground. Even though it appears as a solid, it's really still a liquid, a very viscous, thick liquid.
The improver is chopped, heated, and then blended into the motor oil to ensure that the oil itself continues to flow in all seasons.
Because this is the substance that allows us to use the same motor oil in the winter as the summer. This expands very, very rapidly. In the cold state, it's more like a watch spring, very tightly wound together. But when it gets hot at 200 degrees, it really expands almost like a corkscrew. It gets very, very long and acts like a bunch of fibers to keep the thin motor oil from flowing very quickly, and makes it seem thicker. So we can get a good cold temperature and a good high temperature.
Today, few processes are as automated as food production and packaging. And here too, the machines need a specialized lube called food-grade oil. It's even okay to swallow.
These are required by the FDA to be used so that if accidentally the oil would get into some of the foods, it's no harm to you. This is hydrocarbon that's been extra processed, extra clean. It's handled food grade all the way. Special packaging, special drums. So it never comes in contact with any metal.
But if the prospect that you might be eating oil surprises you, Don't forget, you're also rubbing it all over.
The baby oil that you buy is 100% this, with a little fragrance. Suntan lotion is probably 80% this with a little bit of emulsifier. Lipstick is about 70% this with a lot of dyes and also some wax products to give it some consistency. It's used in just about everything that we put on ourselves.